Now, ships is one of those things that it's the neglected child of the family. Let's not lie here. But we have some good news today. Apparently, ships is getting a facelift, a ton of changes across the board for various things. And we're going to answer a lot of questions such as what happened to the hardware abilities, what's replacing them, the new PvE table, a lot of overview stuff, and a lot of new abilities happening to ships in this video today. And to talk all about it, we have Capital Games on the show. Once more, happy to have you guys. And one of our familiar guests is Top Hat over at Capital Games. He is the live producer, but we have two other individuals today. Why don't you guys go ahead, introduce who you are, and we'll get this show on the road.
How's it going? This is Chris. I'm the ships designer, and my tag is CGC Mandalorian.
Hi, this is Michael. My forum handle is CG Parking Instructor. I'm great at parking, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. But I help out with designing units.
Why don't we just start off broad? What's happening? Give us an overview of what's going on, and we'll kind of dig deeper from there.
Yeah, so I'll start, and this is Top Hat, and what we're going to talk about is that ships is now sort of, I think, as Chris has sort of branded it, and like it's moved into ships 2.0. And so what does that mean? What is ships 2.0? It means that we're unlocking hardware abilities, which we now call reinforcement abilities. We're changing a lot of the ship kits. We're updating them and upgrading them in many instances to bring them more in line with it. And the move to the starting lineup of 3 is also meant to be like sort of more tactical, more dogfightish. So it's meant to be faster. So we'll also be lowering the timer.
So we went ahead and we looked at all the kits. The reinforcement abilities are finally here, and hopefully I'm going to give everybody that sense of the battles are intense, fast-paced, and just feel like a lot more like a dogfight, a lot more like an intense ship battle rather than like safety early on.
This was actually what we're moving to, has a lot of elements of some very early designs that we had around ships. And we as a studio went back and forth, like building out a whole battle system isn't something you just go like, oh, we just made a whole battle system. So, this was an earlier version that we ended up moving towards the 5v5 version that we ultimately launched with. But as we were critically reviewing it over time, we were sort of like, maybe one of those other prototypes we had, maybe it was superior. And I think that that's sort of what kicked off the conversation for us, is maybe there was something we could go back and reinvestigate with ships.
The change from 5 ships to 3 ships. Now, obviously, one of the arguments, and that's pretty obvious here, is that the reason why you deducted the amount of ships at the beginning is for time-saving purposes, make the battles a bit more streamlined. Are there other strategic reasons behind why there's 3 instead of 5? What else is going on behind this 3v3 aspect?
I think a big part of it is the reinforcement abilities, like being able to do a reinforcement ability without having to wait for a ship to be defeated. And the reinforcement ability is almost like a cards in hand kind of feel, where you have these options. You're able to view like what's the current state of the battlefield and what is the best choice to bring in here. Reducing it down to 3, having it be that, like I was saying before, that more fast-paced early interaction, and then being able to swing the battle with choosing your reinforcements.
If you look at shit like the 5v5 ship, like as a player, it was really fresh initially, but after like a month or two, it feels just like character combat. But with the 3v3 and the reinforcement abilities, we definitely added like another strategic layer to the ship combat.
And I agree. Yeah, the reinforcement bonuses definitely change things up. And I want to give a little bit of background because people might be already kind of familiar with what reinforcement bonuses are. As you know, the capital ship, when you call in a reinforcement, they get a buff, for example. Well, now it's a bit different, where I'll let you guys explain in a second, but before, where you guys had hardware abilities coming soon, you now added reinforcement abilities to that. And for example, I saw that the Boba Fett Slave 1, when it's going to enter battle, right now it looks like it's going to taunt when it comes in. Now that's pretty awesome. So why don't we talk more about how do these reinforcement works, or maybe if you want to maybe talk, give another example of a ship and what their reinforcement bonus will be when they come into battle.
Yeah, they're all going to have their own unique feel, and I think without saying too much, we wanted to give excitement to the ships to the identity the ship already had. So taunt might seem really strange on Slave 1, but he also gains retribution with that.
Yeah.
So even though he's being hit, he's also, as a high damage dealer, he's also, you're forced to hit him and then suffer the repercussions of hitting Slave 1.
Kind of looks like you're kind of mixing up what our typical traditional idea was reinforcements. Like usually, for the most part, maybe you guys can agree, the number one reinforcement to come in right after is the scimitar. Well, now after these reinforcement changes with these new abilities when entering someone into battle, we might not have a set definition of what should be the first reinforcement character. And I think that this it makes things a bit more dynamic. And when I was testing out the ships for the first time with this new rework you guys got going going on, it kind of changed my mentality on how I should go about the battle. So hopefully, whatever you guys are doing with reinforcements, it makes underused ships more useful, and maybe starting ships that we used before, maybe they should be in the back end and not start off at the very beginning.
I want to hop in though and also say I want to caveat some things like I traditionally do whenever we talk, and say that Boba Fett's his taunt and retribution are works in progress. It's one that we're feeling pretty comfortable with right now, but there's a chance that it changes, just so that people don't think like if it launches differently, we want to make sure that well, what happened? So we're still testing it. We feel really good with it, but something may change to Slave 1.
We see how Darth Trey is pretty powerful. I think it's okay that Boba Fett gets a taunt when he comes in. I don't know, just me saying. Now we have all these changes. One of the things that's still kind of a big concern is time dedication to ships. For me personally, I got a lot of stuff going on. I already do my arena for the 1 hour slot, and ships is right after it. I'm not gonna lie, for the longest time, I've only done one battle on auto, and that's it. What is time commitment going to look like for ships? Are you guys going to be changing how the payout works? How much time is going to be needed per battle? And secondly, is this something for people who can't be fully committed to ships? Can they go ahead and auto battles, for example, and still maybe kind of win? What's going on here that maybe you can tell us more about?
So we're definitely since the battles are starting with 3 and they are more fast-paced, we're definitely making some changes in terms of the battle time. We've reduced the timer from 7.5 minutes down to like the normal 5 that you'd see in Squad Arena. So they should be quicker.
Yeah, because there's an accompanying change in damage and health as well that comes with it.
Right.
When you're talking about stats here and stat changes, is this like fair to say some ships will be getting nerfed to some extent? Is there a nerf across the board to make health lower so the battles are more fast paced? What exactly are we talking about with stat changes here?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Is it a nerf? Potentially. We've had to make a number of changes, and we hope that the players understand sort of what the spirit of it is that we see on Reddit and on our forums people asking for more diversity for a different experience. To deliver that comes with some, I'm going to use the word compromises. It sounds so ominous, but it's not meant to be ominous. It's meant to say we heard you and we wanted to make some changes. Those changes result in changes. It's a very different experience, and some numbers had to be changed, and most of the abilities kits have been updated on most characters, some more dramatically than others, but yeah, we wanted to make sure that it was a way different experience.
So what you're kind of saying is that some underused ships will become more used, and I'm guessing it might be fair to say that some of the more popular ships we're seeing now, we might see them get a reduction in usage in Fleet Arena?
It's not necessarily a reduction in usage. More often than not, what we're doing is bringing lower use ships into parity. Right. It's no different than, like ships is a much narrower space. There's fewer ships, but it's no different than whenever we go through and kind of rework a faction, right? Like there is some natural drift inside of the game, and we spend our time bringing other characters and things up. You can sort of think of this as just a more larger rework across ships more generally, and making sure that some of the underused ships have a place and have an identity inside of the game as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Rather than like looking at it as stats coming down, it's like because the other ships are more viable, I think we'll see changes because ships you've wanted to use that maybe weren't viable are now definitely an option.
That's cool. That's always great to see. Ships is something I want to see some shake up in. So hopefully the ships we still love will still have some viability, and those ships that you guys may have wanted to see a lot more use of, maybe this is the time to pull them out of your roster, gear up that character a little bit more. And we're going to wrap up here with like 2 more quick thoughts here. We're mainly focused on Fleet Arena here, but are these changes, the reinforcement changes, the stat changes, are they going to apply to other parts of the game perhaps? Or I know we're going to talk about the new PvE table you got going on. So is this something across the board or just for Fleet Arena changes?
That'll be more across the board. So territory battles, challenges, that way to make sure it's fresh, it's balanced across everything ships touch.
And will the AI also have access to these reinforcement bonuses, or is it something just for the user to have?
The AI will have access to it as well. We've made some AI improvements to be able to look at what the reinforcement abilities bring and choose based on the current state of the battlefield.
We think it's an improvement, especially for something as complicated as ship's combat. So we think it's an improvement, but obviously we'll monitor it in the wild and make improvements as we need to.
And the last question we got here, you guys I believe talked about this on another interview somewhere out there, and I believe also Carrie said this on her Road Ahead post, but a PvE ships table. Now, if you guys don't know what PvE is, if you guys are familiar with the light side and dark side battles that you face as a beginner player, we're finally getting that for ships. What can we talk about here? Is it just exactly like dark side, light side battles? Is there maybe a story attached to it, new ways to farm characters and gear? What's going on here? This sounds like a whole new area of farming potential. I'm kind of curious what you have here.
That's pretty much exactly it, where we can put other stuff that you guys can farm. It's a little different. It's not necessarily a light side, dark side. It has more of a cantina feel to it because there's going to be like a mix and match. In terms of the similarity it has between light and dark side, we're also looking at hard nodes on it as well.
And is there going to be a whole new energy for this, or do we have to share energy that we already use for the other side of the cantina? That's a big concern that I have. It's already so limited, and I'm already farming 5 different hard node characters. Are we using the same energy for this new table? That's kind of one of my concerns I have at the moment.
So yeah, I think you'll be glad to hear that it is a new energy that you can use. You won't have to use cantina energy or anything.
Okay.
For this new model. There'll be a ship's energy for the PvE table.
Excellent. All right, that's good to hear. Because I'm already got a cantina energy going for mods and characters, and I already got all this stuff for gear and other characters going on. So that's great to hear. Great that we're going to get a whole new energy source. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on and talking about this. A very dead mode that a lot of people want to see become better. It's a whole new aspect of the game, whole new experience, and so far it looks like you guys are on the right track, and we're looking forward to the changes you have to ships, and we're hoping going forward you guys got a lot more stuff planned out for ships. Don't make it the neglected child anymore. Come on, bring it into the family. Let's make it part of you guys. Any last words you guys want to say before we take off that maybe get us more hopeful for what's coming in the future?
We're obviously touching this because we want to reinvigorate the experience, and we want to be able to leverage more ships and ship stuff as much as we can. We can't speak to anything specifically that's coming, but this is a grand experiment. If this works, like, sky's sort of the limit. We would like for this. We hope the players like it as much as we do, because if they do, it means that we can do a lot more with it.
And to add to that, like I as much as I understand that it feels like the neglected child, I've been working on it a long time, so I'm really excited for all you guys to get to see what's going to happen.
Once more, thank you guys so much for talking today about ships. And you guys let me know down below, what are you thinking of these changes? What concerns do you have? What are you excited about? Let me know, and I'm sure you guys will check out the comments as well. So be sure to like this video if you did enjoy it. Also subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And as always, and you guys are free to make Arnold Schwarzenegger noises if you'd like. All right, let's end the recording there.